Night has fallen, and under the dusk, a certain set of wings shall rise, aka my lats getting pumped to SHIT. So we will, let me think. I'm not really, let's just say this, I'm not really too pressed about making sure that I know exactly what I'm going to do right now. I haven't even gone to the gym and really felt how I'm kind of feeling today. Now, once I actually walk in and start warming up, that'll be when I get the gist of, exactly what's going to go down. So until then, I've got a vague idea. Rows, pull downs, pullovers of a few different combinations. But if I had to guess, I might lean a little lighter today. And not for no reason, but simply because the last 2 back days have been pretty heavy lat focused. Starting with really heavy pull downs, decently heavy, I guess the pullovers aren't too heavy. Those are a very manageable weight. But for the most part, very heavy lat focused work the last 2 lifts, pullovers and pull down and the machine pull down, things like that. So today, that might be my cue to, to kind of change it up. So if I've been really smacking my lats around, potentially it would make sense to make today a bit more row focused. Maybe a bit more squeezing, lighter, slow, controlled reps, since the last few workouts have been a little more kind of brutish. I think that's a reasonably good outlook to have, lift by lift by lift, to make sure you change it up at least in some degree. Even if it's as simple as, all right, I'm going to go a little heavier today and really leverage the mechanical tension aspect of working out. Because if someone's going to describe a set in terms of kind of its, quality features, I guess you could just say its qualities, right? It's, I don't know, let me think. What kind of categories does it really fall into, right? There's just kind of overall, quality of the range of motion, if you step onto a chest press machine you've never used before, and even with just one plate, it just clicks, and you're like, whoa, all right, that's pretty cool. Not one particular part of the movement is insane, but just overall it feels pretty good. That's kind of there. But you can have a hard, heavy set where you just move a lot of weight around and feel fatigued that way. You can have kind of a lengthier stretch focus set. Like every time I do overhead tricep extensions, I'm really hanging out in the stretch position. The squeeze is not, it's not inconsequential, but there's just not a ton to squeeze, because at the top I'm really just holding my arms straight. Totally contrasting that, rope extensions, still a solid squeeze, but much more, or still a solid stretch, but much more squeeze emphasis at the bottom. So it's like a heavy, nasty set, a stretch base set, a squeezing set, just maybe even a drop set. You've got a pretty good amount of movements at your disposal, and different set styles where you shouldn't be getting too repetitive lift by lift. Anytime that guys will say, oh, I'm getting bored of push-pull legs, I'm bored of my split, I want to change it up. I don't think the split is the issue, right? I don't think that that's exactly the problem. I think that boredom might just stem from doing workouts that might be just under the same umbrella approach to a degree that's so similar that it starts to feel repetitive. I haven't really changed my split for the last it's got to be at least a minimum of a year, and I've never thought, oh, I'm so sick of and bored of doing back after chest, I'm so tired of doing legs before chest or arms after back. The thought just doesn't even cross my mind, because every lift ends up being so much different than the last one, at least to some degree. Sometimes I'll do a very similar one, but I try to change it up. But if you actually really bounce around style-wise, then I think you're prone to have more fun. And that's not inconsequential. That's not just a small marginal bonus. If you enjoy what you're doing, the odds are that you're gonna actually go harder at it. It doesn't increase a point. It doesn't increase 2 points. It's a damn big ass change. Because if you go to the gym with I don't want to say a bad attitude, but let's just say, things are off. You're not really feeling it. You're tired, you're busy, your mind's kind of elsewhere. what are the odds that you're seriously going to lock in? You know, so take that one step further. Maybe today is you're just kind of off, and you already don't really enjoy the work ethic you're doing. I mean, if you the classes that you did the best in school were the ones that you liked the most and got engaged with the most. The ones that you felt were the kind of, you know, the most boring, you didn't really get into it. Those are the ones you end up kind of struggling with, you know. So it's kind of a little paradoxical, because we're always talking about, you know, the harder you work, the better. But if you have fun while you're doing it, then it's not work, and you're going to want to go even harder simply for, you know, your own enjoyment of the act. You know, so it's kind of a, you know, hit without getting hit sort of situation, right? Crash and flow. You know, you gotta stay loose with that sort of thing. But either way, I can guarantee that within 45 minutes of set number 1, we'll be setting up the lights for a pretty damn freaky back pose down. So let's go make it happen. So exactly as predicted, well, close enough-ish. Let's start with rows instead of pull downs to be a little different. And this is heavy. 4 plates in this row is not nothing, but this is light enough that I can still hold it at the top and get a good squeeze before, you know, trying to reach to a big, deep freaking stretch. So this will be a controlled set. You know, later on, maybe if I finish with like seated cable row or, you know, some kind of machine or something, I might get a little nastier, purely for the sake of trying to get as much blood flow into my back as possible. But in the beginning, like, man, it's hard to go wrong with a set like this, that's for sure. Really, I've the 2 muscle groups for me that I almost always want to start lighter squeezing, and by light I just mean like in the scheme of my strength. You know, I don't mean light like 20-pound dumbbells. I mean light like a set that I can really, you know, utilize the weight well. It's hamstrings and triceps. I mean, starting with like full crazy heavy stack plates on the side of it, you know, straight bar push downs, and it's just not hitting the same as like a more moderate weight with a rope with like a 2-second hold and then a slow reach. So that's kind of how a portion of my training has evolved. But I think a few here and we'll just go from there. No rush. Gym's not too busy today. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh. Let's run that back. Okay. Oh. Oh. Oh my God. Let's do one more. Same style, same everything. And then I think that row is calling my name for set number 2, or movement rather. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. These reps will be a little quicker off the rip. Oh my God. Oh. Whew. One more of those. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, let's do something lat focused. Whew. We're almost done though. Shit. I mean, that was what, 3 and then 2? Shit, man, I'm feeling it. These will be a little nasty. This is kind of the precursor to a lat movement, but I want to do one more row. So not the full stack, 300 is pretty freaking heavy, but 260. And these will be, honestly, a little more nasty than those machine double arm rows were. You know, I'm not going to sit and do a full hold. Whatever the lat mover finisher is, that's the one that'll kind of accentuate a good squeeze, just like the beginning. But here, I just want to kind of maintain good tension and move some freaking blood around. Any good song recommendations? You said Debo? Interesting pick. All right. Oh, that's freaking heavy. Oh my God. Yeah, that was good, but let's move on. There's no more there's no more oomph left for nasty sets like that. Lat focus squeezing finisher. And we can pose down. Not an uncommon finisher for me, but a good one. Nah, this will be good. I was about to throw some pull-ups in as a pre-exhaust, but honestly, this will be enough. So, the setup is such. Bench here, cable here, high as it'll go, with 2 long D handles. And as a finisher, I can advocate for this pretty well. It doesn't have a specific name, but I mean, you get the gist. Because I want to lean forward in the stretch, really get my lats open, right? But I also want to lean back into the squeeze, still mainly lats, but a little more mid-back. Like this isn't like, you know, anything shrug related, but just as a finisher, since I started with more upper back focused stuff, couldn't ask for anything better. And I don't want to go too light, of course, because then, I mean, I'll with some movements, you can just do a freaking ton of reps if you go too light. And then it's like, what am I doing here? A 30 rep set. So as heavy as I can manage, and I do want this to be controlled. There's going to be a squeeze, there's going to be a hold, and then a deep stretch on top. And as I approach failure, I wouldn't say the form will break down. You know, it's not like I'm suddenly jerking it all over the place, but it'll just get a little more quick, just as I'm trying to get every little bit of, you know, whatever out of my lats. So, make this shit happen and see how we're looking fully pumped. All right. Okay. Oh. Yeah. Well, let's get these freaking lights off. There we go. All right, this will be a little bit late notice to anybody who's not within driving distance or interested. But yeah, I think it's the 10th and 11th. The Pittsburgh Pro Show. They've got an expo. I'm not sure if this is their first year adding the expo portion, but very similar to, I mean, really just similar like the Olympia and the Arnold, right? Bodybuilding show with a dang ton of freaking booths. So it's going to turn into a dang, you know, fitness character congregation. I don't know who all is going to be there, but we got a booth set up just like at the Arnold. But this time I'll actually be sitting there. At the Arnold, yeah. I was kind of really getting in the zone after the competition. I was freaking out of it after that. But fresh and bulked, yeah. We have got some freaking, well, let's just say I'll be there for quite a while. I'll definitely have like some meal breaks for sure. But no, I'll be actually at the booth this time. See, and one thing I really love about all the, like every kind of meet and greet sort of thing is, I mean, it might be a little understated for some, but whenever anybody shows me their fat loss transformations, honestly, that's the, like, in just a few words and then showing like a before and after picture, you get this sense of like everything that actually went into it. You know, because I mean, when these guys show me these pictures, I mean, not only do their eyes light up, but I'm like, dude, yeah, holy shit. This guy knows about calories. This guy knows about cardio. This guy knows about the freaking, energy in, energy out, macro control. And not only that, but also like the self-control that it takes to go through that process. Because I mean, I can't, there's no denying it, you know, being essentially in a state of, you know, perpetual hunger. It's not the easiest thing in the freaking world to do, especially because there's nothing forcing you to keep going. You know, there's absolutely no law that says you can't stop at McDonald's and get a freaking big ass meal. There's no law that says you can't go in the pantry and grab some snacks and eat some ice cream, or, you know, just, you know, overshoot your calorie goal. There's nothing forcing you to do it. And frankly, it's, yeah, I mean, depending on how long it goes for, which if you've got to lose, you know, you don't have to, but, you know, if you're aiming to lose 50, 60, 70 pounds, it's not a quick endeavor. You know, relatively, it can be kind of quick. I mean, I've seen like 100 pounds over the course of just about a year. You'd think that's pretty damn freaking rapid, you know? But it's yeah, not the easiest freaking thing in the world. So that's where I think the argument of what's harder, you know, skinny to buff versus overweight to buff, I think the overweight side is a little bit trickier, because you can't half-ass it to go overweight to locked in. You know, regular dude, you can start working out, change nothing about your routine. You're going to make gains and look like you're working out. As long as, you know, you go pretty hard, right? But for the guy who's a bit softer, you know, he's up in that, you know, 30%, 40% body fat range. You know, if he just starts working out, I mean, it's going to, of course he's going to have a change, but it takes a little bit longer. You know, if you want to get leaner too, I mean, there's just no getting around. You got to burn more energy than you're consuming. You know, so that's where I really get a little bit of a, I don't want to say a deeper connection, but a little bit of a mutual understanding, where it's like, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing, and he's freaking doing it, you know. So that's one of the more fun parts about that. But I think I'm, yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do. We'll add some extra stuff there for sure. It's a little too soon. I was thinking about getting a pretty like massive spin the wheel kind of thing, you know, where it's got like 100 pegs, and you know, you spin it around, and maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I'll try to spice it up, because I mean, if you're gonna sit there in line for a little while, you know, it'd be more fun if we've got a little bit of, you know, some kind of interactive sort of thing. So I'm not sure how huge of a turnout that's gonna be, you know, because it's not as big as like the Arnold. I mean, frankly, the Arnold is freaking nuts. If you've never been, yeah, I mean, even if it's just you, I mean, it's, nobody's gonna look around and say, why is that guy walking around on his own? Not even. It is well worth a day to come down to Columbus and check that out. Plus, I mean, it's just nuts seeing all these people in person. You know, you'd think I'd be a little more desensitized to, you know, all these kind of regular open bodybuilder dudes or just whoever, but I mean, if you see them in person, it really is, it's a freaking event. You know, I mean, you never see anybody walking around like that in your day-to-day life. I mean, maybe if you live in freaking Venice and you're going to Gold's Gym all the time, or, you know, wherever else. But for the most part, I mean, that's far and few freaking between. And the screen does not translate reality, especially if you're looking at somebody who's like in the upper 200s. You know, they got freaking 24-inch arms. It's just absolutely freaking nuts. So that'll be fun. I'm getting excited for that weekend. That'll be pretty good. But in terms of this lift today, yeah, hey man, nothing to say. Good lift. Feel pumped. I can tell I'm almost certainly gonna feel my mid-back waking up tomorrow. And frankly, my legs are still tender to the touch, quads at least, from that quad-only day. What was that, 3 days ago? I took a rest day. When did I take a rest day? I can't remember, but either way, so let me chest back. I mean, only a few days ago, but dude, I mean, it was freaking, yeah, that was good. That was like 5 sets of leg press after 3 sets of hack squats that were just about to failure. Really, I'm excited for the summertime, because I can have, well, not I can have, but, you know, me and Mark will probably coordinate it so we're working out at the same time in there. Because, I mean, if it's just you and you're on like a machine like that, a hack squat or a pendulum, you know, you can get close to failure, right? But it just kind of pushes you a little bit further beyond if you've got somebody giving you a little extra oomph to force you know, an extra 1 or 2 reps out of you, because, you know, you can be right there at, you know, your own kind of, let's just say, force exertion, where you can push as hard as you can, the weight isn't moving, but, you know, I mean, let's say somebody got halfway up on a squat, and then now they're kind of stuck at that halfway point, or a machine or a leg press or whatever. I mean, if somebody's spotting them, doesn't have to like get totally under the machine and really use their whole body weight to move it. They just need to add like 10-20 pounds, and that weight will just start to move up. You know, there's certainly a limit. I wouldn't want to get to the point where, you know, somebody's spotting me on leg press and I'm gonna actually crush them because we can't get the weight together even as like a group. But yeah, I think the assisted reps, there is some magic there. In terms of just any kind of intensifier, I think assisted reps are kind of hard to beat, you know. So that's definitely one benefit of if you're buddies with some of the guys in your gym. You know, go up to them, ask them if they can help you out with something. And guess what? 99 times out of freaking 100, they're gonna say yeah. Even if you've never seen the dude before, hey man, can you help me on some pull downs? You know, I got 10, but if you can help me do like 5, that'd be awesome. I can almost guarantee they'll do it for you. And then, who's to say that that guy didn't want to ask you for a spot on something, but he was kind of nervous because he didn't want to mess with you in the zone. You know, don't freak like that. There really isn't a ton of tension in the gym. But, oh shit. I guess that's not totally true. I'm thinking back a while ago. I mean, this was like early TikTok. So that would have been, yeah, shit. I mean, including the 6 months of TikTok posts before I started the YouTube videos, we're coming up on about 3 years of social media presence. But so, you know, a little bit less than 3 years ago or so, I went to my grandparents' house down in Florida, and I went to I was at this one gym. I forget the name of it, but it's the guy knows. I think his name was definitely Matt. Blonde looking dude. If he sees this, he knows that I'm talking about him. But this was, I mean, this is a freaking while ago. And, you know, I'd never been in there before. Everybody was pretty big. So I go in, I'm about to bench the 150s or something. And my ability to move the 150s back then was very different to now. You know, now I can exert a pretty good amount of control over them. That was, I think, relatively, those 150s back then probably felt like the 170s would today. You know, like, I was really kind of reaching. Because it's like, if you can really do the 130s, and the 150s are right there, it's kind of appealing, right? But, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, kind of looking around all serious, not talking to anybody. And then I don't remember what happened. Maybe I asked somebody for a spot or something, but, you know, like the guy was doing the same shit to me. Like, we were not smiling at all, just, you know, being all serious. And then as soon as we started talking for whatever reason, boom, it was just, you know, everybody got super chill. So, yeah, that's one thing that's kind of fun. But, yeah, I think one thing that's on my agenda, I'm going to go back through all my, like, old saved photos and stuff and get do a bit of a transformation video. I feel like it's kind of long overdue, but, you know, it's kind of a thing where the longer you wait to do it, the more cool the transformation would actually be, because you've got more time to kind of, you know, cover it. But yeah, that can be that'll be about a 2016 to now. Actually, no, well, I wasn't really working out. I think I started actually lifting middle of 2018 in the summer, because that was when I quit doing gymnastics, which was a pretty dang good chunk of time out of my days. And it was like almost 4 hours a day, including the drive, every day but Sunday. So as soon as that was off my schedule, I'm like, dude, I got some freaking, I didn't think this, like, consciously, but I must have been like, oh, I got some time to kill, what do I want to do? And then for whatever reason, working out just took, yeah, I guess I'll try to dive deep into, you know, more of my actual thoughts into getting into that later. But you, yeah, you tell me. I feel like a lot of transformation videos, you know, it's always like a music video. Like, you know, you get a kind of hype song playing, it starts off slow, and then it's like I think that's a little, I don't know, I feel like that's a little cheesy. So I'll probably just end up making like a slideshow with some like key points, and we'll just kind of walk through it like that. But I mean, you tell me, should I make a little montage too? Have it be like a two-parter kind of thing? I'll think about it. I really wish I got more videos when I was like, months into working out. I know that somewhere there's videos on like an iPod, Touch, where I'm doing 135, and it's like that's a max bench back in the parents' basement. So I'm gonna try my best to find all the deepest archives I can get my hands on and put those all together. So that's all I got. I will see you tomorrow for what I can almost guarantee will be arms and potentially forearms. I think I might make it a little lengthier because my forearms aren't small, but having big forearms is freaking cool. And I think I might need to, I'll see. A lot of the forearm work I do is kind of fluff-ish. Like it's nothing directly grip-based. Like I don't have like a grip machine or things like that. I'm always just doing like the curls, which I think is solid, but I think I want to add a grip component in as well. Maybe, who's to say? If you're deep into the grip training, if you've got any recommendations, I'd love to freaking hear it. But that's all I got. So I'll see you then.